Bonjour mes amis! Hi guys, I just came back from Europe and everything has been about watches almost every day. Visited quite a few Rolex shops and also went to Germany to see some German watches like Nomos and some Junghans, but I couldn't find the Junghans that I really wanted. I quite like the Meister calendar, and actually I saw it here in Hong Kong. It's very nice, but I'm gonna hold off on buying that because I already have my Zeppelin, which is really nice and gives me that touch of German craftsmanship and flair at a very low budget. And Junghans, it's kind of in between. It's still using a Celita movement, so it's again not something very substantial under the hood. And although the watches are very good looking and very light, I think I'm gonna hold off and maybe one day get a Jaeger LeCoultre Moon, or maybe the triple calendar that they did a few years ago. Probably it's better to hold off rather than get a Junghans, which even with a discount is still not going to keep a lot of value. That's just how it is. There's too many of them. But they're very nice watches, and if your budget is limited and you think long term you're not gonna want something more expensive, I think it's a very nice watch. And about Nomos, I saw the new ones, the ones from Basel World 2018, the Autobahn, and some people rightly so say that it's bizarre for Nomos, who usually go for a very clean style, to add things for the sake of adding things on the dial. And but I gotta say, on the wrist, the watches look okay, but it's not really my style. I think maybe if you're a dentist or something like that, it's a bit more for you. For me, I think I prefer sports watches. Speaking of which, so I've been to a few Rolex dealers, and even in smaller towns where you might think that less wealthy people would storm the shop day in day out. Even there, I couldn't find the new sports models. I couldn't find a Hulk. I think the watch to buy right now is the Hulk, and that's why there's a premium of $2,000 on even used models right now. Because I get the feeling that they're gonna discontinue it in the next couple of years, and when they do, that's it. There will be no more green Submariners for maybe 50 years, and so the price will probably double easily. So yeah, if you can get a Hulk at an AD, but all the ADs, the authorized dealers in Belgium, told me the same thing. There's a wait list for the Hulk, and they get 2 or 3 every year. So the odds are stacked against you. And looking back now, I came back, and I should probably have put myself on all the wait lists. You never know. It would even pay your plane, your plane ticket. If you go back to get it, let's say you spend $600 or $700 for the plane, you come back you buy the watch there. I can claim the VAT back at the airport, so I would get 21% back in principle, and then you come back here, and not only you can sell it easily at retail, but you can definitely get $2,000 more. So I mean, you could net $3-4 on a Hulk right now. Having said that, they're everywhere here in Hong Kong on the second-hand market, but that doesn't mean that they really sell. I guess the guy with a bit too much money is gonna pay $10,000 or $11,000 for it, but they're very easy to find, and all priced very high. So you kind of wonder if it's not just a crazy bubble, that something might happen to burst it eventually. But in this state of affairs, yeah, The Hulk, I think, is the watch to buy if you like it. And speaking of submariners, so in Germany, well, let's backtrack. First, I'm going to say that in every ADs that I visited in Belgium and in Germany, all of them had the Explorer 2s, the current model, the 216570. You could find them in white and in black. I have to say the black one looks really cool with the dash of orange. I'm really happy with my previous generation Polar dial. I think that's the one to get in that size. And you can't go wrong. And I don't think the prices will ever come down. And it's a very original watch, and I think it suits me very well. But for the bigger model, the 42 millimeters, I think the black one looks better than the white one. Having said that, when they discontinue it, I'm not so sure that they will really gain in value so much, because at 42 millimeters and with those modifications on the dial, they look slightly goofy. That's probably why people don't really buy them so much. But they're still very nice watches, and in many ways I prefer them to the Submariners. And also every ADs had the Explorer 1. You know, it's beautiful. It's a nice watch. They also have the Air King, a watch that have warmed up to, and yeah, if money was plentiful, I would get one, because it has a different vibe from the rest of the Rolex catalog. But yeah, easy to find those, and if I buy them, I can claim back the VAT, the taxes, 21% at the airport. So, you know, I guess if I didn't have any watch, maybe I would get the Explorer 1 and make it my one watch, and it's a perfect watch, as you know. But now in Germany, in a small town in Germany, just on the border of Belgium, I was checking out some Nomos watches, and then I asked casually if because that shop had every possible brand. From they had Omega, they had Rolex, Jaeger-LeCoultre, whatever, Panerai too, and I asked if they had any sports models, and indeed they had a Submariner date, the black version. Wow, and I didn't expect that, and I hadn't really checked if I could get the VAT back, and I didn't check. Also, I had to clear a bit my credit card to be sure that I could even afford it, because it's 7,850 euros. It's a ton of money for a tool watch. You know, at one point it's insane. I don't know if anyone is really keen to take such an expensive watch to the beach and actually diving, because yeah, they keep their value, but if you bang them around, they're not gonna keep their value as much. So at one point it gets a bit crazy, the price. But nevertheless, so the watch looks great, but honestly, those lugs are way too big. It doesn't work with the bracelet for me. I don't like that look at all. And they've already started to slim down the lugs on the new Pepsi GMT. I'm going to talk about that one in a minute, because I saw one in the wild as well. I shouldn't forget to talk about that. So the lugs are too wide, and so it's a bizarre sort of cushion that you have on the wrist when you wear the Submariner, and so I didn't buy it. And after that, I regretted it, because you know, they're hard to find, they're easy to sell. People are looking for them, and I could have had 20% off. So after that, I beat myself up. But then again, I went second-hand shopping in Hong Kong afterwards, and the black sub is not that hot on the market. It's not that expensive, so I would not have really netted that big of a profit. But I would have liked to experience a modern sub, and give you a bit more of my experience of it, beyond just trying it on the wrist for 30 seconds and being a bit starstruck, I would say. because I had actually never tried one on. But in all objectivity, it doesn't look that good. I mean, yeah, the dial looks fantastic and the bezel and everything, but those lugs, they're ruining it. And so one should wonder what's going to happen if next year at Basel World they decide, for example, to reduce the size of those lugs. And the case is still 40 millimeter, so it's not a big step back. It's not them really giving up on anything, just slimming down the lugs, to because I think the trend is coming back to thinner watches. Rolex is always a bit behind the trend, which is a good thing because the trends come and go, but I don't think they're going to go bigger. If anything, I think the lugs are going to get smaller. The case will still stay the same, and the Submariner will get the new movement. I think it's a given. But when I do that, as much as I think that the Hulk is going to double in value, I'm not sure people are really going to miss the black Submariner from the past 7 years, 8 years that it's been out in this format. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. But I wouldn't bank on it as a huge investment. Unlike, for example, the Batman, which I just saw yesterday in the wild here in Hong Kong, which really pops, and it's a substantial watch in the sense that you can feel the quality and in the look of it. The Submariner it's a bit more subdued and it's overplayed. One more thought I had is that the Submariner in Hong Kong is the kids' watch. It's crazy to say that, but I see kids with new Submariners on the tube. I saw one yesterday right in front of me with his girlfriend. He couldn't have been much older than 16. And then an older man came right after and sat at the same place with a Batman, and his wife was wearing a small two-tone Datejust. And right next to them, there was a lady with a gold Daytona, on a rubber strap. So definitely, don't ask me if it's the real deal. It is the real deal. I mean, you could see the quality of a real piece. And who's going to put a fake Daytona on a rubber? I mean, this is a serious watch thing. I'm sort of mixing up the subjects as I retrace back to the past few days of a watch craziness. I mean, back here in Hong Kong, it's insane. So yesterday, I'm on the train and I see all those watches. So a Sub, a Batman, two-tone, Datejust, beautiful Daytona. And I went to meet some friends for dinner, and one of my friends had his nice. Can you hear that? I'm playing with the bezel of my Seiko here. Really, really nice watch. You see, you don't have to spend $8,000 to have a cool, funky watch. And so, yeah, my friend had a Panerai GMT. I tried it on, and we always want thinner, smaller watches, and then you have Panerai, who goes the totally opposite, and it works somehow. It works. It's a look that has entered the zeitgeist. I don't know if I'm even using the word properly, but I mean, it's in our collective conscience that it's okay for Panerai to be big, but for other watches, it's not. You don't want to have a 42 millimeter or a 45 millimeter Submariner. But the Rolex Sea Dweller at 43 millimeters is gorgeous. If you can pull off that size, that's a badass watch, really badass. And so my friend, back to dinner, my friend showed me that. Then we went to his place and he showed me his prized possession. the AP Royal Oak blue face that he got recently, slightly over list price, and he doesn't dare wearing it too much. And so I put it on my wrist, and as you know, I have that Maurice Lacroix icon that I really enjoy, that really pops. It's a beautiful watch. And I have to say, call me crazy, but I kind of prefer the Maurice Lacroix. I think the finishing is just as good. The face of it looks just as even more dazzling actually than the AP. And I know AP, of course, is using better material. There's gold and maybe platinum. But I thought I was going to be wowed by the movement at the back. And of course, there's a gold rotor, but that's a bit of a cheap trick. But the movement itself, there's not that much to it, really. I think for the uninitiated, if you saw the perlage on the Maurice Lacroix and compared it to the visually less exciting AP movement, you might prefer the Maurice Lacroix. And APs are, I've been told, are fairly fragile. So dropping 17 grand on a watch that could break, and also size-wise, it's slightly too big. I think slightly too big. It could be a 1 or 2 millimeters smaller, and I'm sure that they have smaller versions of it. So well, it goes to show that the hype, it's a bit overdone. I mean, it's a great watch, and I'm happy for my friend if he loves it, and I think the watch is going to keep value, of course. And that it's a very nice movement, well decorated and everything. But frankly, for $1,500, my Maurice Lacroix just works for me just as good. And if you want to call it an homage, just whatever floats your boat. To me, it's just it's for me. It's not for other people. So I do recommend checking both, and you might be surprised by what your gut feeling is gonna tell you that you should be purchasing. And he also had a Rolex Milgauss, one that he has had for a long time. Always a cool watch. So he's got a really great collection there. I think he could use a chronograph, maybe a moon watch or something like that, or maybe a Patek. I think it's not a bad investment, and he can surely afford it. What else did I want to talk about? Let's open the watch case here. I have to say, on holiday, I mostly wore my Rolex, the Explorer 2 Polar. It just suits me so well, and this watch is so beautiful. I prefer this to the divers. Speaking of which, the Tudor Black Bay. Oh yeah, I also saw that in Belgium. The Black Bay GMT. I saw the one. I tried on one with the leather strap, and yeah, the face is okay, but it looked a bit dull with that brown strap. I'm not a fan of mixing black and brown, as you might have noticed. To me, black goes with black, brown goes with blue. That's just the way I dress, the way it works for me. So putting this, so many people put brown straps on black-faced watches, and it doesn't work in my concept, in the way I conceive colors. And here I am dropping the Rolex. It's okay, it's a soft surface. And back here in Hong Kong, the watch hasn't been released yet, but or maybe just now. And I tried on the one with the bracelet. That was much nicer. But as you know, the Tudor is going to be it's twice thicker than this Rolex. So it was great. I was wearing my Rolex that day, so I could compare a bit. And really, you have a GMT here. You don't have a rotating bezel that nobody understands how to use. And well, shit, at the end of the day, I have a Rolex, right? Why am I going to buy a Tudor GMT? And while on the subject of Tudor, the Black Bay 58, so the 39mm is coming out. That one is going to be thin like this, and I want to check it out. It doesn't have a date, and I kind of like need to have a date, so maybe I'm not going to buy it. And I don't know about you, but I'm reaching watch fatigue with all those releases, and you think that you need to have the latest thing, but look what's in my box. I have too many things. To me, my diver is still well, apart from the Longines, which is a vintage style diver. To me, it's still the Seiko Shogun. It's so comfortable. It's so original. You're not gonna see another one on the train here in Hong Kong because everybody wears a Rolex. But I think this is badass. It's you could compare that to the Rolex Sea Dweller, but yeah, it cost 1/12 of the price of the Sea Dweller. So yeah, I just have too many watches. When you have a nice Seiko, that's a proper tool. That's one you're not afraid to take to the beach and to the pool. If I bang it around, I can always change the parts. And one last thing I forgot to mention about in Belgium, we went to a second-hand shop, a very nice one, and they have a really cool Rolex stuff and everything. And I immediately saw that the dealer had a gorgeous brand new Rolex GMT Master 2 Pepsi. And in person is gorgeous, and he likes it a lot. And yes, the colors of the bezel are... I wonder if they couldn't make them darker. I don't think so. I think they went for a sort of faded look. Nobody has mentioned that. Maybe I think because the chrome bezel will not fade. Maybe they wanted to have a faded look to it. Yeah, it looks good to me, but at the same time, maybe it's going to be hated in 2 years, and or maybe it's going to be loved forever. Who knows? But it's a cool watch, and it's got this Jubilee bracelet, and the guy got it for at the store price, at list price. So he could probably net a few $1,000 if he decided to sell it, which is always comforting when you buy a new watch. It's so rare that a watch can keep value. And also in that shop, I saw some really nice Omega watches. There was the CK 2998, but that one had a tachymeter. It didn't have the pulsation bezel. Quite nice, really nice. Great colors, the blue and the white. I really liked it. What else? Another blue, also Speedmaster, and we saw a vintage Universal Genève with a triple calendar, moon phase, and chronograph. Oh my god, all that for 6,600 euros. If that was a Patek, it would cost 6 million probably. It's insane. So much, a lot of value in that. And apparently, it's their own movement. It's not even a module on top of a module on top of a Valjoux. But I might be wrong there. But really cool watch, good looking watch. It made me think. And so back in Hong Kong, it's all about watches, and the video is getting long, so I'm gonna conclude with another funny story. So we went out last night after geeking over watches a little bit at my friend's place. We went out, we went drinking a bit, and it was daylight when we decided to call it a night. Or call it a day. And on the way back, there was a strange thing ringing in the taxi, and I realized as I got out of the taxi that somebody had forgotten their phone. I was so drunk I didn't realize that it was a phone next to me, forgotten on the back seat of the cab, that was ringing all the time. And I asked the cab if he can take care of it and try to bring it back to its owner. But sometimes the cabs here don't want to get involved in all that, and I'm sure that it belonged to a foreigner, probably, who was drunk and forgot it probably half an hour ago in that cab, and probably was annoying to the cab driver. So I took it and I gave it because the guy was calling his phone, but I could not open it, so I could not answer. What you gonna do? And I know that, and I saw that he was trying to locate it with his computer, with Google or whatever. And so I showed the phone to the doorman, and it was a temporary doorman at my building. I had never seen him, but he spoke good English and he was friendly. I tell him maybe the guy is gonna locate his phone and come here. And what do you know? That doorman had on a beautiful Rolex Submariner from the early 80s with the faded tritium. Oh man, man. It was so funny. I've been seeing Rolex everywhere all day, and Royal Oak, Panerai, and we talk watches all the time. And even at 6 a.m. when you get back home, even the doorman at the reception has a bloody Rolex on. But I gotta say that these old ones look really, really cool, and I congratulated him on his watch. And then off to bed I was. So let's just see what's in my watch box right now. Of course, I have the moon watch. Gorgeous. I mean, look at this bracelet. It's sometimes I come home and look at the beautiful case. Such a cool shape. Sometimes I come home and I just put it on because it feels so good on the wrist, and sometimes I sleep with it because I don't know, there's something comforting about wearing this watch. It's just too cool for school, and absolutely love it. Actually, I might try to demagnetize this watch because it's been, as I said, it's been running 20 seconds fast every day. And someone in the comments of another video said that his was running 22 seconds fast, and he had it demagnetized, and now it's running +3. So that could be the case. So I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna demagnetize myself or go to Omega Shop. I have to go anyway soon to see the new Seamaster 300. Really excited about that one. Of course, I have another watch that feels great on the wrist. My Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso. That's a Grand Sport. And when you've been seeing a bunch of watches and then you take this one, the finishing, on the dial, and the overall jewelry quality of this watch just puts it in a different category. And I really like the brand. It's got substance in the movements. It's their own all in-house movements, always original, and the designs are a mix of modern and classic. I think it's the perfect watch brand to me. It's my favorite, and it remains affordable. That's most important. And it's not overplayed. No, you're not gonna see Jaeger LeCoultre everywhere. While frankly, I have Rolex fatigue. Love Rolex, but I'm happy with mine, and I'm getting really tired of talking Rolex every day. And of course, you need a blue watch, and this is the perfect one watch. If I had to choose just one that can do everything that I need a watch to do, this could be the one, because this one will never get magnetized probably. So it's great for modern life. It pops, but at the same time, it can go unnoticed as well. It's very easy to set the time on it, and it's obviously very reliable, and it's very comfortable. You can sleep with that one. You can shower with that one. Well, no, you should not shower with the watch, but you can go swim with it. I really love my Rolex. It's very, very comfortable, but I'm not too comfortable in the water, or I think it's fine though. It's been serviced, and everything should be okay. And it's got the GMT function, which is good. It would be hard to choose if I had to choose between those two, because the Moonwatch doesn't have a date. It's not that accurate, and it's a bit bigger. So yeah, if I had to choose one watch, would be difficult. Maybe the Rolex, maybe the Omega. I think you gotta have both. Or maybe I'll just go for this and just make a statement. All right, I've been rambling on, babbling about for 30 minutes. That's enough. Any thoughts, share with the group in the comments. I hope you're having a great holiday. It's crazy hot here in Hong Kong. And tomorrow I will go on another watch safari. When you go to Champagne Court, for example, you can see millions of watches. And in a way, it makes them look cheap. They are literally $1 million watches lined up next to a bunch of Cartier, every Rolex you can imagine. And bizarrely, they price the new Pepsi GMT over the root beer GMT, which is two-tone. So you have gold in the root beer, and it's a better looking watch, I think. That one was priced 150,000 honkies, which is 20 grand. And they were pricing a little bit more, a little bit higher, the Pepsi GMT. So it's just insane. I'm not sure anybody is really paying 20 grand for the Pepsi GMT. I mean, come on. Everybody's trying to do a money grab on it. And the hype is there, but I don't think anybody has paid 20 grand. If you have, you're really an utter moron, and you should be shot. Because wasting money like this, it's stupid. Give it to a charity instead. If you're so frivolous with your money, right? Well, says the guy with 30 watches. I'm starting to sell some. I've just sold the Black Series Turtle, because to be fair, I never wore it. I wore it a couple of times, and again, it goes to show that the novelty thing is plays a lot into this watch collecting passion. But then afterwards, when you get when you can wear a Jaeger-LeCoultre like this, you're not gonna want to wear a $300 Seiko. I mean, no, there are some $300 Seikos that I love to wear. Or for example, this one is 150. And but yeah, the Black Turtle didn't really do it for me. It's just too simple, and not much apart from the black color. There was just not much to it. And guess what? I doubled my money, because I got my watch at list price with a discount, and I sold it for almost twice the money. So I netted 200. I've netted $200. So when people say that only Rolex and Patek can earn you money, well, let's say if you can buy 10 limited editions Seikos and deal in volumes, you can net yourself quite a Rolex type of profit. And on this very exciting thought, I'm gonna leave you there. If you're still with me, I'm amazed. I don't think I'm that interesting. That someone would want to listen to me for 33 minutes in my broken English. But if you're still here, thank you very much. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Take care.